is recognized.
Mr. Durham, just so people remember what this is all about, let me ask you, the Mueller investigation revealed that Russia interfered in the 2016 election in sweeping and systemic fashion, correct?
That's correct.
And Russia did so through a social media campaign that favored Donald Trump and disparaged Hillary Clinton, correct?
As the report says, yes.
And Mueller found that a Russian intelligence service hacked computers associated with the Clinton campaign and then released the stolen documents publicly. Is that right?
That report speaks for itself as well.
Mueller also reported that though he could not establish the crime of conspiracy beyond a reasonable doubt, he also said, quote, a statement that the investigation did not establish certain facts does not mean there was no evidence of those facts. That also appears in the report, doesn't it?
There's language to that effect, yes.
In fact, you cited that very statement in your own report, did you not, as a way of distinguishing between proof beyond a reasonable doubt and evidence that falls short of proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
Correct.
As an illustration of this, both Mueller and congressional investigations found that Trump's campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, was secretly meeting with an operative linked to Russian intelligence named Konstantin Kilimnik, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And that Manafort, while chairman of the Trump campaign, gave that Russian intelligence operative the campaign's internal polling data, correct?
That's what I've read in the news, yes.
And that Manafort provided this information to Russian intelligence while Russian intelligence was engaged in that social media campaign and the release of stolen documents to help the Trump campaign, correct?
You may be getting beyond depth of my knowledge, but
well, let me say very simply, while Manafort, the campaign chairman for Donald Trump, was giving this Russian intelligence officer internal campaign polling data, Russian intelligence was helping the Trump campaign, weren't they?
I don't know that.
You really don't know
Sounds
those very basic facts of the investigation?
I know the general facts, yes. Do I know that particular fact myself? No. I mean, I know that I've read that in the media.
And are you aware, Mr. Durham, that Mueller and congressional investigations also revealed that Don Jr. was informed that a Russian official was offering the Trump campaign, quote, very high-level and sensitive information, unquote, that would be incriminating if Hillary Clinton was part of, quote, Russia and its government support of Mr. Trump? Are you aware of that?
Sure, people get phone calls all the time from individuals who claim to have information like that.
Really, the son of a presidential candidate gets calls all the time from a foreign government offering dirt on their opponent? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think this is unique in your experience.
So you have other instances of the Russian government offering dirt on a presidential candidate to the presidential candidate's son. Is that what you're saying?
Would you repeat the question?
You said that it's not uncommon to get offers of help from a hostile foreign government in a presidential campaign directed at the president's son. You really stand by that, Mr. Durham?
I'm saying that people can make phone calls making claims all the time that you may have experienced.
Are you really trying to diminish the significance of what happened here and the secret meeting that the president's son set up in Trump Tower to receive that incriminating information? Are you trying to diminish the significance of that, Mr. Durham?
I'm not trying to diminish it at all, but I think the more complete story is that they met and it was a ruse and they didn't talk about Mrs. Clinton.
And you think it's insignificant that he had a secret meeting with a Russian delegation for the purpose of getting dirt on Hillary Clinton, and the only disappointment expressed in that meeting was that the dirt they got wasn't better. You don't think that's significant?
I don't think that that was a well-advised thing to do.
Not well-advised.
Right.
Wow, that's the understatement of the year. So you think it's perfectly appropriate or maybe just ill-advised for a presidential campaign to secretly meet with a Russian delegation to get dirt on their opponent? You would merely say that's inadvisable?
Yeah, if you're asking me would I do it, I hope I wouldn't do it, but it was not illegal. It was stupid, foolish, ill-advised.
Well, it is illegal to conspire to get incriminating opposition research from a hostile government that is of financial value to a campaign. Wouldn't that violate campaign laws?
I don't know all those facts to be true.
Well, your report, Mr. Durham, doesn't dispute anything Mueller found, did it?
No, our object, our aim was not to dispute Director Mueller. I have the greatest regard, highest regard for Director Mueller. He's a patriot.
The only distinguishment between his investigation and yours is he refused to bring charges where he couldn't prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and you did. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Durham, thank you for being here today to speak with us about the report you produced looking at the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Your report took 4 years and over $6.5 million in taxpayer dollars to produce. Mr. Durham, how many cases did you bring to trial during your time investigating the 2016 election?
I'm sorry, I just missed part of that because
How many cases did you bring to trial?
2.
2. And in how many of those 2 cases did the juries vote to convict?
Neither one.
Neither one. Neither jury voted to convict the gentleman that you prosecuted, and in fact, in one case, the trial judge threw out one of your charges because the claim that you were charging as false was, as he put it, literally true. Mr. Durham, I think you were given an impossible task by Attorney General Bill Barr. He asked you to figure out how to make Donald Trump's Spygate claims true. But you couldn't do that because you quickly realized that the claims were false. And so you set about, as many Republicans on cable news do, trying to find a way to blame Hillary Clinton for Donald Trump's woes. Mr. Durham, do you know how many people Special Counsel Mueller indicted or obtained guilty pleas from?
They indicted or charged a number of people. I think
It was 34. It was 34 people and 3 companies. Do you know how many of those indictments were of individuals who were acquitted in court?
I don't know that anybody was acquitted.
That's right. The answer is none. So I think the difference between your investigation and Mr. Mueller's was that Mr. Mueller actually found actual evidence of a crime. We know that Russia did attempt to interfere in the 2016 election. We know that Russia did hack into the DNC email server, and Mr. Mueller's prosecutions reflected that reality, such as the case of 12 Russian military intelligence officers who he charged with crimes related to the hacking and the leaking of leading Democrats' emails in 2016. Similarly, Mr. Mueller found repeated instances of Trump campaign associates lying when asked about their interactions with Russian interests. And as a result of Mr. Mueller's investigation, George Papadopoulos pleaded guilty in October of 2017 to making false statements to the FBI. Trump campaign aide Rick Gates pleaded guilty to 1 false statements charge and 1 conspiracy charge. Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleaded guilty to making false statements to the FBI, and in November of 2019, Trump advisor Roger Stone was convicted on 7 counts, including lying to the House Intelligence Committee and tampering with a witness. Again, Mr. Mueller indicted or got guilty pleas from 34 people and 3 companies. Mr. Durham, you're a career prosecutor, correct?
That's correct.
And you started working as a state prosecutor in 1977, and you joined the Justice Department in 1982. Yes or no, prosecutors prioritize bringing cases to court that have a high likelihood of winning?
I would not say that that's the standard, no.
So you don't think that to call an investigation successful, you should at least reveal some new information? Most of your report, Mr. Durham, is a rehashing of old news, including process-related concerns that the FBI had already addressed. In fact, that's why you said you were not recommending any further changes to FBI policies or procedures. So at the very least, I would think that you would need to win some of the cases on their merits. But that's not what happened, and that's not what MAGA Republicans are looking for. Chairman Jordan seems to be looking for any excuse to discredit law enforcement and DOJ, who are finally holding Donald Trump accountable for his serious violations of the law. Violations, by the way, that Donald Trump just admitted to last night on Fox News. Americans will see through this facade, and I wanted to ask Mr. Schiff if he wants my additional 40 seconds of time. If so, I yield.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on my question before. Nora Danahy is a very well-respected member of your team. Why did she resign?
I'm sorry?
Nora Danahy was a very well-respected member of your team. Why did she resign?
Yeah, that's not part of the report, and I'm not going to discuss internal matters.
Did she resign over disagreement she had with you about how you're handling the investigation?
It's not part of the report. I'm not going to discuss it.
It's
I
not
have
part of the report,
highest regard for Ms. Danahy.
but you know the answer, Mr. Durham. Why won't you tell us?
think
Because that's not part of the report, that's not part of the mission, and I'm not going to discuss internal discussions. I can tell you this, that with respect to every major decision that was made by our team, every agent and every lawyer had full voice in expressing their opinions, and we proceeded accordingly, with me making the final
Some voted with their feet to leave your
the
office.
time of the gentlelady has expired.
I yield back.